the art and the impact of Lucille Ball. We'll talk with two of her show business contemporaries, Jerry Lewis and Sid Caesar.
This is ABC News Nightline. Substituting for Ted Koppel and reporting from New York, Jeff Greenfield.
There are performers we respect, performers we admire, performers we take to for a season or two of passionate obsession, and then cast aside to ask a few years later, whatever happened to what's-her-name? And then once in a long while, there's a public figure we come to love, permanently, ineradicably, utterly. If someone told you earlier today Lucy died, you didn't have to ask Lucy who. You knew who. You knew she had made you laugh, even if she'd done it on a TV film that was made a quarter century before you were born. Her gifts were enormous, they were timeless, they were universal. Nightline correspondent Judd Rose offers this appreciation of Lucy.
Lucy makes candy. Lucy makes wine. Lucy makes a commercial.
It's so tasty, too. It's so tasty, too. Vitamin. That's it.
Whatever Lucy makes a mess of it. We've seen these moments so often, it's as if we've lived them ourselves. We smile because they're familiar, and we laugh because, after all these years, they're still surprisingly funny. We have loved Lucy since we, and television, were young.
I'd like you to meet my friend. Shake hands with Mr. Joe. Oh, that must be the crazy redhead everyone is talking about.
Everyone talked about her, and everyone watched her. I Love Lucy went on the air in 1951. By 1952, 67% of all TVs in America were tuned in on Monday nights. It was on for just 6 years, but it's been in reruns ever since. TV's first real hit, it remains one of the medium's enduring classics.
We were just very busy doing it, and we didn't know the impact, of course, and had no idea that it was going to last any length of time. From the very beginning, we figured a year, year and a half, whatever, and I would have some home movies to show the new baby.
Instead, Lucille Ball and her husband Desi Arnaz pioneered techniques that became standard TV practice years later. They were the first to record their shows on film, preserving them for future use, inventing the rerun. They used several cameras and a live audience, something TV situation comedies do to this day. For that matter, Lucy and Desi invented the sitcom itself.
I ran over here, I opened the closet. Ethel, what? I've got an idea. I don't like that look on your face.
Lucy was Lucy Ricardo. Vivian Vance was her reluctant cohort, Ethel Mertz. Together, they'd act out Lucy's elaborate schemes to break into show business, schemes destined to blow up or burn up in Lucy's face. Every week, Lucy would get in over her red head and go, "Ooh." And then every week, Desi would go, "Lucy?" Desi was Ricky Ricardo, the Cuban band leader with the mangled English. Lucy, he'd say, "You have some splaining to do." It was silly, but sublime. Lucy's red mop and rubber face were the tools of a consummate clown, a virtuoso of slapstick, and in one memorable episode, pantomime. Lucy became TV's first female superstar.
Ricky, this is it.
This is it.
So popular were Lucy and Desi that when they had a baby in real life and did the same on screen, the birth of Little Ricky became the most watched TV episode ever, seen by an astounding 92% of the audience.
What's the date of your birth? August 6th, August 6th what?
August 6th, period.
In fact, it was August 6, 1911, the day America's favorite redhead was born, a brunette. She flunked her first drama class, and her teacher called her a no-talent. But Lucille Ball wanted to be a star. She tried her luck as a Broadway chorus girl, then as a model, and finally a bit player in dozens of movies, most of them forgettable. She appeared with the likes of Fred Astaire and the Marx Brothers, and making a movie in 1940, she met and fell in love with Desi Arnaz.
Will someone please come? There's a waiter fainted out here.
RKO Studios made the movie. Years later, Lucy and Desi would own that studio. Indeed, the company they founded, Desilu, became a Hollywood power, producing hit shows like The Untouchables, Star Trek, and of course, I Love Lucy. That show went off the air in 1957. Lucy and Desi divorced not long after that. Lucy returned to weekly TV in 1962. Her voice was now deep and gravelly. Her last name wasn't Ricardo, but it was the same old Lucy. Always a success, but never quite escaping the shadow of her earlier TV hit, Lucy stayed on the air until 1974, then made a movie, and then retired. In 1985, although slowed by age and illness, Lucy made a comeback, getting critical raves for a TV movie in which she played a homeless bag lady.
Well, I'm still here.
That led her to try a return to weekly TV. The show, Life with Lucy, was a flop and was quickly canceled. But she remained active to the end. Her final public appearance was just last month with her old friend Bob Hope at the Academy Awards.
But I've got the most gorgeous girl right by my side, Lucille Ball, right there.
I'm delighted that somebody cares. I'm delighted that I have left something. I mean, you can go through your whole life and never leave anything behind that made a mark.
And what a mark she's left.
Well, I love Lucy. Everybody loved Lucy. The whole world she's gone, but she's still here.
She's an American icon, but the language of Lucy is universal. When her reach so gloriously exceeds her grasp, she's ready to try again. Unsinkable, indomitable, she is the cockeyed optimist in all of us.
I love Lucy and she loves me.
For so many years, she made us laugh, and no doubt years from now, she still will. But tonight, she's making us cry. If there's a special spot in heaven for the clowns, open the gates. This time, Lucy has no splaining to do.
When we return, we'll talk about Lucille Ball with two pretty fair comedians themselves, Sid Caesar and Jerry Lewis.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Toyota.
My palms used to...
Long before their sentence is up, to make room for new ones. Watch Peter Jennings on ABC's World News Tonight tomorrow.
Joining us now live from Dominic's Fish Market in Las Vegas is the acclaimed comedian Jerry Lewis. He's appeared in more than 50 films, many of which he also wrote and directed. He was also one of TV's first comedy stars, going back to the Colgate Comedy Hour, which shows you how old I am. He met Lucille Ball in 1948, and they formed a close friendship that endured for more than 4 decades. With us in our Los Angeles bureau is Sid Caesar. If you are old enough to remember the Cesario Opera Company or The Professor or the classic parodies of classic films, you know he is one of TV's great comedians. He starred in Your Show of Shows, which ran on NBC from 1950 to 54, and later on Caesar's Hour, which ran opposite a show called I Love Lucy. His acquaintance with Lucille Ball dates back more than 30 years. Sid Caesar, you look at those clips of Lucille Ball mugging and falling down, physical comedy, and to some people it may look like what's termed low comedy, a kind of easy gag. Tell us something about the discipline that's involved in that kind of comedy.
Well, comedy, as you know, is a very serious business. And but that took, I mean, doing it live, no matter what she did, she slipped, she fell, she got hit with a pie. She always kept her femininity, and she was always a lady. That's the beautiful part.
Is this something that someone like Lucille Ball, who after all was a movie star and a radio star, had to really work on again and again to get that kind of timing to make it look so effortless?
No, I think she was a natural. She absolutely was a real natural. she had timing. She didn't have to learn it. It was there.
And yet it would seem that to be that physical in front of an audience implies an enormous sense of trust between the audience and yourself, because you're not getting by on a funny line or a wisecrack.
That's true, and you're not getting by on a laugh track. Is right. It was live, and the laughter you heard was the real laughter, and nobody had to tell you if you were hit or not. You knew immediately if you were going over or not going over. So and she was well, what can I say? She could take a pie in the face and still be a lady.
Jerry Lewis, Lucille Ball, like yourself, was a behind-the-screens presence. I mean, you are a director and a writer and a producer. Lucille Ball was a studio owner. How do you keep the on-screen sense of, if I can use the term, a clown, so that the audience suspends its disbelief and still sees this very strong-willed woman as this kind of rather helpless child woman? And that must take an enormous sense in the performer, him or herself, to pull that off.
Well, the joy was that it was such a pleasure, and it was such a relief not to be burdened by the responsibilities of executive, writer, producer, director, that when you got to be the actor, the freedom of that comedy was so childlike and with such an abandon that she had that, as I say, freedom to be the Lucy that we remember and love so much.
Was there a sense back in those first days of television that the fact that for the first time an audience at home could see comedy rather than listen to it on the radio made its impact that much more special, that they could actually see you, Lucy, Milton Berle, acting physical?
Well, that was the joy of television. We finally got rid of visual hi-fi, which was radio, or for that matter, those cerebral combatants that would stand before the television camera and just talk. Lucy was the forerunner, with Milton Berle, of course, that taught us all to do the visual things that were part of the medium called television. Not TV, television.
But it also seems that you and Sid Caesar and Lucille Ball drew from that tradition of the circus clown, willing to play the fool in order to not only to make us laugh, but to touch us in a way. There's something about that humor, it seems to me, that's much more visceral, much more powerful than the wittiest line you could deliver from a writer.
Well,
well go ahead, Sid, and then Jerry, sure.
I'm sorry. Jerry?
Go ahead, Sid.
What it was is that to me it was a natural. We didn't know how to perform for television because it was brand new, and it was just be yourself, and what you saw is what you got, and that to me is the audience didn't just observe television; they watched television. They were part of it because they knew anything could happen because it was live, and because it was live, it was like a football game. There's only three things you can do with a ball: throw it, kick it, or run with it. But will he fumble? Will he do it? Will he this? Will he this? Will he pass it? Will he catch it? Will he don't? That's the wonderful thing. That's the dimension I think that is missing today is the fact that it is live, the fact that anything can go wrong.
Jerry, you wanted to get in on that point I was making about the nature of that comedy, why it seems so to touch us so much.
Well, I think Sid said it all, with the exception of one point. Lucy learned during the incubation period. She learned from what she was doing that that's what had to be done in order to get through to the audience, that we were indeed in a visual medium. So she captured the visual concept and turned the audible concept into visual and made it work for her. I don't know that she knew it instinctively. Yes. I don't think that she knew it intellectually. None of us knew it intellectually. We all worked based on instinct because it was the beginnings.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to continue our discussion about Lucille Ball and about television in just a minute.
Friday, Tom Gerald's dangerous journey to meet the king of heroin in the jungles of Burma and bring back his incredible offer. Watch 2020 Friday.
Tomorrow, organically grown food. Is it worth the extra cost?
Also, Surgeon General C. Everett Koop and James Woods coming up on Good Morning America tomorrow.
Continuing our look back at Lucille Ball now with Jerry Lewis and Sid Caesar. Jerry, you knew Lucy for 40 years. I guess everybody calls her Lucy. She was a power in Hollywood as the co-owner of a major studio. Did she reflect that in private? Was this the kind of person who enjoyed wielding that kind of power?
No, not at all. Lucy was a very, very plain lady, and she never ever alluded to her power in terms of owning a studio. She was a comic, a clown, and couldn't wait to get on. If you went to a party and you saw Lucille sitting in the corner, and if you knew nothing about television, you'd think it was a plain lady, just a pretty lady seated there. Gary probably would be seated next to her, and you'd never know it was her. She was very low-key. When she got on the set, she was very high-key. She was a perfectionist and wanted to do the best work she possibly could do. And that only prevailed in her work. As a woman and as a lady, she was just a plain lady. Very private, somewhat of a recluse, until she had to go out into the public. And when she did, she went out with a fanfare.
Is that how she was able to play this rather helpless child woman, even though in real life she was far from it?
I beg your pardon?
I say, is that how she was able to portray this rather helpless child woman who couldn't go out into the workplace on the show, but in fact in real life did? I mean, she must have touched something. She was reaching for something when she played that character of Lucy Ricardo, right?
I think if you look at all great clowns, you'll find that the pattern is pretty much the same. Different upbringings, different understandings of where they come from, but in the end result, pretty much the same. She came from whatever her upbringings were, manifested itself in her work, as you will see with any clown. Clown is a different thing than a monologist. We're talking about a clown now, and she was indeed a clown.
Sid Caesar, her material was shaped in the early 1950s. There's no sex. She couldn't even use the word pregnant to describe her own condition. No politics, nothing topical. In a sense, is that what gives it its universality? That the very fact that she couldn't even think about using that kind of material made her go to broader themes?
Well, that's what we had to do. I mean, as you say, you couldn't use the word pregnant. You had to say she was with child. But the main thing was that all that material was stuff that you do every day, things that you do every day. It happens to you every day, only it's exaggerated, that's all. So people can identify with it because they know, they can feel what's going on. Oh, that's Uncle Jake, or that's Uncle Jake, or that's Aunt Tom. It's a thing that you can recognize. It was recognized immediately. So it really didn't even need jokes because they recognized it and it was exaggerated, and that's what made it funny.
What strikes me as so ironic is here's a character who is really a throwback. I mean, they made jokes out of the very fact that she tried to go to work, and you had that classic scene in the candy factory and many others. And yet it works for a generation for whom, you know, there are women on the Supreme Court, there are women running for vice president. How does that translate 35 years later into laughter that we can all recognize?
Because women still take care of houses and still take care of children and still take care of it. And I think it's imbued in the public that they know what she's doing and what she was doing. Because you do the same thing today. If you take a girl out, you still get embarrassed, you're still on the first date, and it still holds true. It's like going to the movies with a girl and try to get your arm around, just to get your arm around her, it took an hour and a half. And people still know it today because it still happens.
Jerry Lewis, let me ask you, if Lucille Ball were young today and came to today's television world with all its polling and its research and said, I got an idea for this show, a woman homemaker married to a Cuban band leader, could this show get on the air today?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I will tell you one thing, that Lucille Ball's work had nothing to do with feminism, had nothing to do with politics, the question that you would ask Sid. It had to do with a simple premise, and we mustn't miss this premise. This was a funny broad. She was a funny lady. She did funny things. She made the American consciousness step down from its dreams of sanctimony or whatever and just laugh. She was a plain, funny lady. And I have to add to that that in the people that I've seen pass on in these last few years of my life, Fred Astaire, Orson Welles, there's never been coverage like this. Why? There's never been coverage by the media. Never. I have been inundated today by phone calls from every wire service, from every network, national and local, to talk about this great clown, Lucille Ball. What does that tell you? It tells it all to you.
Yes, it does.
She was magic. And she was magic because she made the people in Bangladesh forget they were hungry. That's what comedy is. I didn't mean to get on the soapbox, but I had to say that.
No, it's a good way to top this off. Jerry Lewis and Sid Caesar, two of the great comedians, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We will be back in a moment with an important word about tomorrow's Nightline and a special Koppel report.
07 or call area code 212-227-READ.